rolling sound, quiet. Here we go. Reading. 1.67. And starting right and action. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Lone Star Film Festival. It's day 4. I'm Chad Matthews. I'm the executive director of the Lone Star Film Society, which is the organization that annually presents the Lone Star Film Festival right here in Fort Worth. I'm coming to you from Fort Worth at the Backlot Studios, just here in the near South Side. So I'm really excited about this film talk. We've got 3 filmmakers who have outstanding short films in the festival. Highly recommend you checking them out, and let's introduce them. So we've got Charles Dong. He's the writer and director of After Class. We've got Erin C. Buckley. She is the writer and director of CC Dances the Go-Go. And we've got William Stribling, who is the director and co-writer of The Speed of Time. Welcome, everyone, to the Lone Star Film Festival.
Hi,
Hey.
it's so nice to be here.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm going to each talk with you individually about your films, and then we'll kind of all come back together and talk more filmmaking stuff. Charles, let's start with you. And I know we had some audio issues earlier, so we're going to just try to see if this works with Charles. Say hello to everyone.
Hey, everybody. My name is Charles. I'm the writer-director for After Class.
So your film is one of those films I'm trying to tell everyone to go check out, but I also don't want to give away the plot or the experience of the story. So how would you describe your film if you're trying to pitch this to someone that has never seen it before?
The film was originally inspired by a really famous social events back in China a few years ago, which people they intentionally run into traffic to scam the driver's money, and of course this the film, the plot is was quite different from what happened in real life, but it's one of those films that I think everybody should go see. It's about motherhood. It's about what someone can do for their loved ones.
Without a doubt. Now, I would love to learn your backstory because this film takes place in China. You are currently in the United States, is that correct?
Yes, I'm in grad school in LA.
Fantastic. But you also studied in New York as well, is that correct?
Yeah, I studied in the University of Leipzig in Germany back when I was in undergrad, and then I transferred to NYU Film School.
Very cool. The movie it's heartbreaking. It's one of those films that's beautifully shot. It's powerful, and then it's jarring. And again, I thank you so much for sending it our way. I do want to tell the folks that it is qualified for the Academy Awards. Charles, when do you know about that, or when is the next cutoff date, or are you already into the finals?
No, I'll find out if I'm in the short list in probably next February next year. Yeah.
Awesome.
Who knows? Finger crossed.
Well, congratulations on that. It's worthy of that recognition. Let's go over to Erin. Hi.
Hi.
Now, you have a connection to Fort Worth. You want to tell us about that?
Oh, yes. I was born at Harris Hospital in Fort Worth, Texas, and I was raised in Dallas when I was younger. Actually, my grandma and my dad and my aunts and my uncles all live in Fort Worth. So I'm super honored to be a part of the festival.
I wish we could do this in person because it would just be so cool to have you here.
It would be so fun. I know. I want to come some other year when we're not all remote and get to experience the festival live with you guys.
Without a doubt. So tell me about your movie. Give the audience a little snippet of what's it about, and then I would love to hear about how because it was originally a stage play, and then you turned it into a short film. How complicated was that process?
Yeah, totally. So my short is called Cece Dances the Go-Go, and it's about this girl who walks into a gay bar and meets this sort of stunning, gorgeous go-go dancer. And so it's a little love story in miniature. It's a lot of direct address to camera when the protagonist is processing out her feelings. And then it's a lot of go-go dances. And yeah, we originally did it in New York here at Dixon Place, which is a fantastic, very feminist, very LGBTQ friendly space in downtown Manhattan. And my friend Rebecca, who actually plays Cece in the film, I actually wrote that part for her and the piece for her. And she and I actually did it together originally downtown at Dixon Place in 2012. And I just kept thinking about making the piece into a film. Like I couldn't get it off my mind. And so, you know, in long conversations with Rebecca, who not only stars in it, but choreographs, and also my producer, Rowena Mackay, we sort of figured out over time how to make it happen. And just had a really special group of people. My DP, Chance Roberts, has a whole production company out in Tucson, Arizona, where we shot for 3 very long overnight shoots. A really, really special group of collaborators. We shot at this former mortuary turned into a speakeasy called the Owls Club in Tucson. So yeah, it was just a really special experience and a really fun sort of problem to solve in terms of converting it from stage into film.
Was there any thought of you being the lead because you had performed it?
Yeah, I had originally written the role for myself. It was my first time directing for camera. So I really, and I was, producing, I was co-producing it, and I was the writer and the director. And I just felt from my first experience of shooting something that I really wanted to have the experience of directing and to sort of be on that side of the camera. So my friend Aishan Chelik so graciously stepped into the role that I had originally played. And she's just so special in that part. So I feel really lucky that I got to work with her on it. But yeah, I mean, I had originally written the role. I played it in New York when we did it as a play, which was super fun. But yeah, I just really wanted to have the experience of being behind the camera for my first short.
Yeah, I get that, and you're right. Your actress, knocked it out of the park. It was
Totally.
great.
She's amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about your web series, Platonic.
Awesome.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, totally. So we shot CC in Tucson, as I said, in June 2019, and finished cutting it and sort of locked it by September of last year. And then I actually went to this fabulous writers retreat at McDowell up in New Hampshire last fall, and I got this script for my web series Platonic all sort of set. Got it how I wanted it to be. And so in the fall, I started making a plan to shoot that in January of 2020. And I'm so lucky that we got to shoot Platonic before the world shut down. So yeah, Platonic is about 10 5 to 6 minute episodes, and it documents, sort of fictionally documents, my friendship with my friend Ryan, who's my best friend, who he and I were both, about like 8 to 10 years ago. We're both in lovely relationships now, but we were very much single, and we were very much staying in touch with each other via voicemail message. So the web series sort of documents a friendship that is maintained largely by remote communication. And it sort of documents the two of them in their love lives and in their friendships, friendships that are really working well, and then love life relationships that are not working so well yet. And yeah, that's really what the piece explores. And it's also, I would say, like a love letter to New York in this sort of, and it was just so, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, so fortunate that we got to shoot that before, like I said, before the world shut down. And yeah, and it's all available on YouTube now. You can find it on our website, platonicseries.com.
Yes, so definitely check out CC Dances the Go-Go and Platonic.
Yeah.
Watch them all. Great. Well, let's go to William. Welcome, and thank you for sending your film in. It's a fun roller coaster ride. I mean, seriously, like you watch it once and then you're like, I gotta watch that again because I know I missed something. But it's epic because of the action and the comedy, and you made it for as a proof of concept to make it into a feature, and that is happening. So congratulations on that. Tell me about that process. It must have been daunting.
Yeah. So long story short, my writing partner, Russ Nickel, and I had been working with John Hennigan, who stars in The Speed of Time, for the past few years on developing an entirely different feature film. And that script, it got finished mid last year. And as that was starting to get set up, we were really just anxious and chomping at the bit and wanted to get out there and make something. We were all kind of, just excited to work together on a big action comedy of sorts. And features take a really, really long time to do. So we thought, in the meantime, let's come up with something that can be fun for us, that can showcase our skills. John as a performer, stunt, actor, wrestler, all of that fun stuff. And then my writing partner and I are kind of comedic chops. So we came up with the concept of, can we cram an entire action film into like 10 minutes? And we failed because it's like 12 minutes long, but it did work out. Yeah, it was, it's supposed to be a tiny, small little movie. And then as we explored ways to get it made, I was in touch with, I live in LA, but I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida. And the film commission there is fantastic. And they've been trying to convince me to bring a project there forever. So they were able to convince us successfully to shoot the whole thing in Florida. And they hooked us up with amazing incentives and locations and crew, and got a lot of resources that way. So we flew everyone out. This was last October, just over a year ago, and shot for 4 days. Really, really intense, crazy shoot. We lost major locations 48 hours before, and we're scrambling to find new spots. And I think it all worked out for the best. I'm really proud of what we had going for it. But yeah, so that project, now that it's out in the world, has been kind of a pitching tool for us as a team. John working with myself and my writing partner, and then for The Speed of Time as a potential feature. And yet we're moving forward. I can't say too much about the specifics of it. And also there's so much up in the air right now with timeline in terms of when it'll be safe to go out and make an indie feature again. But yeah, we're very, very excited to kind of blow it up and make it even bigger and better than it was as a little scrappy short film.
I'm so glad you had your lead actor, John Hennigan, on board. I mean, he really holds the film together. I mean, Sean's great as well. I mean, they're both really funny, but I was going to ask you about that. I mean, did you write it for him, or did he come onto the project after you had the script in hand? But it sounds like you already were working with him and you knew what he would speak to, and you just ran with it. So that's awesome. Congrats on that. I mean, it's very cool. I hope the Fort Worth Film Commission can kind of wrangle you to maybe make a movie in Fort Worth. It's like,
yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. I was supposed to be on a different feature set right now, but of course the world is largely shut down, and that has been pushed into next year. So who knows? Maybe we'll take you up on that.
Well, let's kind of piggyback on that. Charles, how has the pandemic affected your creative work and career and what you're doing?
I was so back in January, I was actually planning to go back to China for some projects, and me and my friends were actually prepping for basically a Chinese chef's table, and then the pandemic hits China, and I went back to New York, and then I am all my jobs and either get canceled or pushed back after the pandemic hit New York, and I stayed at home for I don't know, like 5 months, just drinking and writing. I haven't done much. I mean, like that's all I can do, I mean, that's just how, because I moved to LA 2 months ago for grad school, and then that's just how I feel in general. How New Yorkers dealing with I'm sorry, it was my cat. How New Yorkers is dealing with a pandemic is very like careful in a way. They really don't go out, and everybody wear masks. And now I moved to LA. This is like, it's actually pretty bad now. I think it's still the numbers are terrible, but people are showing in the pool like they have their mask doesn't have their mask on. But in general, like I think maybe now it's not the best time for filmmaking, but it's definitely not like a good time for go to. I'm so sorry.
That's the best.
I love it when a cat comes in the picture.
Yeah, they just, hey, I need your attention. Yeah, I just try to make the best out of this. Take the time to do 2 years of grad school, and maybe in 2 years, after this is done, I'm able to back in the game.
Sure. Erin, I'm going to get to you with the COVID question, but Charles, real quick, because I just remembered this. I had an interview with another filmmaker who shot a feature film in China, and she said that she went through a long censorship process where she had to get approval and permits to be able to shoot in that country. How hard was it to shoot your short film overseas like that?
Oh, well, if someone needs to shoot a feature film, that's a different story. And, they want to shoot in fancy locations and, on the street, and they need to get a permit. And it's basically you submit your script, and then the government sees it, like, hey, we don't like this, that. And then you just fix until like they approve this. But because I shot a short and it's only I shot it for 5 days, and the school, like my aunt knows the principal, and she just like called the principal up and said, hey, my nephew want to shoot at your school, and we just pull in the truck, start a shoot, and we didn't, no permits, no. It just, as long as you know someone, know somebody, and there's some other locations without spoil. I mean, we basically just, I think one of my producer brought like a really expensive Chinese liquor to the people who runs the neighborhood, and then he always have like those like packs of cigarettes whenever the police come. 2 packs of cigarettes, and then they would just like go away. I mean, this is basically like as a like indie short film. Like we're not gonna be playing the theater, of course. But that is basically how I do it.
I love it. True indie filmmaking at its finest.
So much cigarettes,
So, Erin, how has the pandemic affected your life and work? I mean, were you planning to continue more seasons with the web series, or what's going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, so we started the festival run for CC in the middle of the pandemic. So we had our premiere at Frameline in June, which was so wonderful. And then, I've gotten to do a number of festivals over the past few months remotely. And then we were just finalizing Platonic. So we released that mid-August, but I would say up until then, I was really, focused on all angles of post-production and stuff. So I was really focused on that. I do have a second season of the web series ready to go. But I actually have been working with my new managers on a half-hour version of the series. So that's actually what I've been most focused on recently is a half-hour version of the series, which has been yeah, I mean, it sounds similar to what William's dealing with, like the idea of expanding something that was originally sort of a short form thing. It's been sort of a really fun process to be working on. So yeah, so I'm like multiple drafts deep on that and working on a Bible and all that good stuff. And then I'm working on a screenplay as well. So yeah, just keeping busy with, thankfully, I think being on project, working on Platonic was really helpful because I think a lot of people just clearly we all kind of felt so adrift, but I think it was nice to actually have something to be working on.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
William, I know that you've worked in the digital world as well. Do you have any web series that you want to plug as well? I mean, you've been working for a while, right?
Yeah. I mean, so it's so funny. The biggest web series I did was called Edgar Allan Poe's Murder Mystery Dinner Party, and that came out a few years ago, and it's been like a really big hit, and people love it, and it's opened a lot of doors for me and introduced me to a lot of cool people. And the group that I made that show with, we had a new project ready to shoot. Again, this fall was supposed to be the ideal time to do it, and that got pushed a little bit. I think the indie projects are going to have a tougher time getting back up and running. The studios can afford all the COVID precautions, but for a smaller project, putting almost half of your budget now towards these protocols and precautions, it doesn't really make sense because you don't see that money on screen. So yeah, check out Shipwrecked Comedy on YouTube. I work with them a lot, and we do a lot of really fun historical literary comedy stuff. But yeah, I mean, in the web series land, that's who I'd plug. You can check out my features too, but that's web series you can,
I was going to say that because I was first introduced to you with your feature film Bear With Us, which I'm sure is still streaming on every platform.
Yeah.
People still talk about that film from the festival. Like years later, they're like, I still watch that movie with my friends. And it's just funny to hear how how people still watch it. So it's great.
Yeah, no, it's nice. That's nice to hear. I'm so bummed I wasn't able to come out when it screened a couple of years ago. I think that was actually like Russ came to that one, I believe. And I was at a different one in a different city. I don't know. That was a good time. But yeah, Bear With Us. It's streaming pretty much everywhere, and really proud of that one.
Cool. So we probably have some aspiring filmmakers watching, wanting to kind of see about tipping their foot in the world of making a short film. And I just wanted to see if you guys had any advice or maybe a mistake that you maybe experienced that you could share just to help them along the way, to inspire them and get them going without, maybe making the same mistakes that you maybe made in some of your earlier films. Is there any piece of advice that kind of jumps out of your head, like, don't do this? Anyone?
I would say don't spend a ton of money. I feel like, that if you're going to spend a bunch of money, make a feature. I know people who've made features for incredibly slim budgets that they're incredibly proud of. But shorts are they should be experimental. You should be super ambitious. And I think there's also the trade-off of the more money you're spending, the higher expectations you should have for it and what it can do for you. So if you take $5,000 and call in some favors and go and make a killer 5-minute short film, I think that is a much, much better thing to do than what I've seen a lot of people do, is go and spend $150,000 on a 20-minute short film that now struggles to get into festivals because of the length of it. And you know what I mean? And for $100,000, you can make a feature. That's what we made Bear With Us for. We made a totally respectable movie for that budget. So I'd say get as scrappy as you possibly can, call in every favor, and really own it too. Because the lower the budget, the more you actually get to make every decision. The more you're spending other people's money, then you're beholden to someone else's opinion. So shorts they're supposed to be a calling card.
Yeah, I agree with William on the length of the film. I think maybe if there's one mistake I made or in the past is I think a short should be a short. I think the best form of short film is it should be just a moment of someone's life or event. And I think compared to a feature film, I think short film is just a completely different medium, even though they're all movies at the end. I think the reason why people make short films is a lot of time is filmmakers try to shoot a proof of concept that they could lead them to somewhere else. So make it short.
I agree with you 100%. And on the programming side, that every minute you go over 10 minutes, it just gets harder and harder to fit that film into the festival. So the shorter, the better. Erin, any advice?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I like what the guy said. I was just thinking that for me, I feel like I learned so much from the collaborators who I had around me. So I would just say really lean into, obviously it's a collaborative medium. And so lean into that and really build your team of people so that, I think there's this idea that sort of directors need to have all of the answers or something. And I just sort of think that's baloney. I think you need to have a strong team around you. And that, you kind of figure things out as you go along. I would also say there's a real benefit in building in a little bit of rehearsal time with actors. I found that when we were working on the web series, even just the opportunity to run the scene a few times before we shot really, really helped in just sort of feeling grounded, even though we were working on a super tight schedule.
Awesome. Well, here we're gonna wrap this up with a little thing we've been doing with all the filmmakers. William has already experienced this, but he's gonna have to do it again. We're gonna ask 5 rapid questions, and so the question's gonna come up, and then each of you is gonna answer, and then we're gonna go to the next question. Now, it doesn't have to be long, but you could just be very quick and succinct in your answer, or if you need to elaborate, feel free to do that as well. So, you guys ready to play? Five questions?
Yeah.
We're calling it now. 5
Let's
questions.
see if my answers are the same this time.
Right, exactly. I hope your answers have changed. I think it's been some time. All right, so the first question is going to be favorite filmmaker, Charles.
Paolo Sorrentino and Bong Joon-ho.
Erin.
Jamie Babbitt.
William.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
That was the same, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's the same.
Favorite place or location to watch a movie?
In the theater. In the theater. Yeah.
Any specific theater?
I like this one theater in New York, and now I haven't been there for like years, and I forgot what's the name of it. It's next to Union Square. It's like an indie theater. Quatra. Like it starts with a Q.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me.
Yeah. It's pretty hard to pronounce. Language barrier. Sorry.
Well,
there are 2 for me. I'm gonna remember the name of the theater you're thinking of in just a minute, but there are 2 for me: BAM and Nighthawk in Brooklyn.
And the ArcLight Cinerama Dome here in LA.
The quad cinema. That's what you're thinking of.
Quad, that's what it is. Yes. Okay.
So the next question is the one thing that's kept you sane during the pandemic. I have a feeling with Charles, it might be the cat.
Yes, that's my cat. Yo, keep my yeah, totally. You're right. Yeah, it's my cat.
Erin.
Biking. We both got, my partner and I got bikes. Biking.
Cool.
My answer is the same. It's too good. RuPaul's Drag Race has kept me sane during this pandemic. I've just been binging all of it, and it's my favorite thing in the world. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Here we go. Where do you find creative inspiration? Charles.
Personal stories.
Personal stories. Great. Erin?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give the same answer. Yeah. Personal stories and personal relationships.
I'm going to say the same thing I did before, which is music. I really gravitate towards like singer-songwriter stuff that is, storytelling and a lot of cinematic music as well. Not movie scores, but just like, rock music that sounds like it should be in a movie.
Yeah. Music on a road trip would be probably for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And because we're in Fort Worth, we have to answer the final question with cowboy hat or cowboy boots. You've got to make a decision. You have to decide which one do you think you're going to go with. Charles.
Cowboy hat, 100%. I have a cowboy hat in my car.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I drove from New York to LA, and on the way I passed Nashville, and I got a cowboy hat.
So the next time we do the Q&A, or if we're in person and you're in Fort Worth, you have to wear the cowboy hat.
Yes, please. I wear that sometimes when I hike.
Awesome. Erin.
I'm strongly going with the boots.
Okay. Any reason?
I don't know. It feels very iconically like I just remember driving down, the highway in Texas and just seeing like the Justin Boots sign. And I like a cowboy boot.
And William.
So originally I had said hat. However, that was before the World Series, in which my dearly beloved Tampa Bay Devil Rays just played, and Randy Arozarena had lucky cowboy boots that he would wear during batting practice, and he turned out to break every record in baseball in the World Series. So I'm going to have to change my answer to cowboy boots. Big fan of the boot.
Great.
Nice.
Well, this has been fun. I've really enjoyed speaking with you all, and I love your films, man. I mean, seriously, people, if you haven't watched these short films, go and watch them. They are so incredible. And the work you guys put behind this artistry is just incredible. It's inspiring to me. I hope it's inspiring to other people. Keep doing what you're doing, and please think of us here in Fort Worth with your next project, because we would love to have you back, and hopefully in person, right?
Yeah.
Better. I think that's it.
Awesome.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Chad.
All right.
Take
Thank you so
care.
much. Okay.